Let's overanalyze all 63 new GTA 6 screenshots because there are hundreds of details you've missed. We'll start with the Ultimate Edition images and finish with the Vintage Vice City pack, which is what you get with the standard pre-order.
What makes this different? I've done this multiple times with other GTA 6 material, so I can actually guarantee you'll learn something new. Starting with the first screenshot, we have Jason looking like TGG, and one recurring theme jumps out immediately. The character customization is unbelievable.
Lucia has brilliant braids, Jason's rocking those luscious locks, and Lucia is wearing the exact same earrings you've probably clocked multiple times by now. Though interestingly, her famous necklace isn't on in this shot.
On the right, there's a blurry helicopter that really contrasts with the sharp clarity of Jason and Lucia. It genuinely looks like a real photograph, proper depth of field and everything. Spot the flamingo too. Next up, a wider shot with Jason and Lucia in the same outfits alongside this creamy green car I'm fairly confident is the Grotti Stinger GT. You can get a much clearer view of it through the window. On the building behind Jason, you can make out the word Sahara. If you didn't know, Sahara is GTA 6's parody of Amazon, and the logo similarity is pretty on the nose. This shot is taken on Catalan Quay looking toward inner Vice City, and the website video looks like it was filmed around the same area. Lucia is also rocking the Hawk revolver with a black decal, which looks seriously slick. We'll dig more into decals in a bit. Then we have a shot from Electric Fang Tattoo, located in Stockyard, a neighborhood in Vice City. Both motorbikes are kitted out with Leonida plates, though we'll see some Gloriana ones later. Whether that teases a second state or not, I honestly can't say. What I can say is the plate customization looks great. In GTA 5, there were loads of plate options, so changing colors and adding symbols has me genuinely hyped. Behind the motorcycles, a poster reads, "Your fate is in our hands. You can trust us." On the left, there is a neon sign, and just below it, you can see the actual cable powering it, clipped to the wall with cable clips and running through plastic conduit into a box. The attention to detail is insane. There's detail in the door too, and it looks like arcade games are making a comeback. From GTA 5. The ground shows a small crater with visible deformation, exactly the kind of thing detailed in Rockstar's graphics pattern, and I cannot wait to see more of that throughout GTA 6. Inside the shop now, Lucia is sporting an interesting look. Personally, not what I'd go with, but each to their own. That's a brand new, more modern iFruit phone. The brand is Eris, which has actually been in the GTA universe since GTA 3. I'm not entirely sure what's happening with the pixels at the bottom of the chair, whether that's a mistake or just dripped ink. The bottom left of the image really sells the realism though. You've got cling film, the kind applied to fresh tattoos, and what look like powder-free gloves. The packaging reads, "Excellent fit for comfort, sensitivity, and safety. High anti-tear properties. Single use only." I can't make out the word before cuff, so drop it in the comments if you're a tattoo artist. Moving to a different angle from the same location, we're just to the right of the previous shot. Chronologically, this looks like it was taken after, because Lucia's tattoo appears complete here. Jason is easily recognizable in the center. We all know about the sunglasses reflections by now, but what's interesting is how his Marauder's tattoo looks noticeably more faded and worn compared to the newer ones closer to the camera. That feels like an actual in-game mechanic. Older tattoos fade, fresh ones haven't dried yet. To finish off the tattoo shop, Jason has this huge piece on his back. Allegedly, finis is Latin for the end or finish, and honestly, this Easter egg kind of unsettles me. Maybe it's foreshadowing what happens to Jason and Lucia, going out Bonnie and Clyde style. Moving on, Jason S had a shave, and I really like the detail of the back of his cap being breathable and perforated. There's a little boat in the bottom left, and we appear to be on the outskirts of Vice City, not far from the grassy rivers based on the watercolor. That's Maka the Gator, inspired by Miami Vice, where there's an alligator named Elvis. Seeing it in the iconic Tommy Vercetti shirt is a nice touch. On Lucia's shirt, there's a small blob that looks like it's holding a cigar. It instantly reminded me of Big Smoke, though it could be something to do with Booby Ike, given the similar jewelry. We can see a lovely 1995 Grotti Cheetah parked outside Pegassi Residences, South Tower. Rockstar appears to be using parallax roads, and the way the water interacts with the car is impressive. The ground just in front of it is slightly wet compared to the rest of the street. Then, there are water particulates across the windscreen and hood, most likely simulated using Rockstar's patented technology for animating sparse fluids. And if that wasn't enough, there's another screenshot of the same car, and Rockstar really showed off the ray tracing here. That lens flare from the headlight looks incredible, and I just noticed the curved reflection of a palm tree in the front of the car. How is that even possible? On the left, a speed limit sign reads 10 miles per hour, and there seems to be a boat tucked behind the palm trees in the distance. This shot also makes me wonder if we'll get dip beam and full beam headlights to blind oncoming traffic, just like real life. Beyond that, the material textures on the blinkers and brake lights are clean. The interior detail through the glass is impressive, and the license plate confirms that Leonida is nicknamed the Good Time State. The interior shot wraps this section up, and just like the 2022 leaks, the car interiors are still incredibly detailed: speakers in the door, speakers in the footwell, real-looking leather on the steering wheel, and what looks like a seat adjustment lever on the left of the driver's seat to accommodate different character sizes.
In the background there's the Grand Hotel plus another I can't fully make out. Letters AKI. I'll guess the Akio Hotel. Then we have the Hawk Revolver, probably a nod to Arthur Morgan. And it's actually a returning weapon from the original GTA Vice City called the Equalizer. You can see both guns together in the shot with clear engravings. Lucia Caminos. Not the smartest move during an actual robbery, since if they lose the gun, it's pretty obvious who it belongs to. There are also number engravings, and here's a brilliant hidden detail. They're the release dates for the original GTA Vice City and Vice City Stories, October 29th, 2002 and October 31st, 2006. On the left is a wad of cash with a die pack built into it, manufactured by in-game company Bobcat. It reads, "Die pack, handle with care, explosive." The small red square, I'm guessing, indicates the die color. Really curious to see how this factors into actual gameplay. Not totally sure how these work in real life, but can you disable it? Can you stop all that cash getting soaked in red dye? Then there's a box of Stronghold ammunition, manufactured in the USA. The approval marking, I believe, references one of the most expensive and hardest to obtain weapons in the world, which raises some interesting questions about what it's doing in Vice City. Now we get a look at Rideout Customs, the mod shop log behind the Ultimate Edition. The tires read Boulder All-Terrain, and apparently Boulder is a god in Norse mythology, known for being indestructible. Very fitting name for off-road tires. The truck itself is Canis brand, the same brand as Trevor's off-roader in GTA 5. What really gets me though is that towing equipment bolted to the front of the truck. Can we pull other vehicles out of deep mud? Or rip a TMs clean off the wall? Genuinely no idea. Could just be aesthetic. Zooming into the close-up, the only thing I can make out is H7H1 printed on the front of the headlights, which is probably just one specific headlight variant you can swap in. And honestly, there are going to be hundreds of options like that in GTA 6, so I'm not reading too deep into it. Now, as you can see here, we've got yet another Gloriana plate showing up, and I think this might actually be the first time we see multiple mechanics working on a vehicle at the same time. Oh, and if I haven't mentioned it yet, this vehicle is the Camacho. You can see it right there on the side tag. But what really caught my eye is all those paint splatters on the floor. My guess is when you get a new paint job, the spray gun kicks back and leaves little specks all over the ground around the car. Although, second thought, the website says the vehicles are hand-painted, so that actually makes more sense as the explanation. And for the location hunters, this mod shop sits out in Lake Leonida. Next on the left, we've got what looks like it could be the same guy showing up again. The face, the dimples, pretty hard to argue they're not the same person. And given the level of customization Rockstar has been teasing, that's not really a stretch. The gun he's carrying, though, looks like an MP9, which is a different detail worth noting. Wait, actually stop. The guy on the right is absolutely the same character, no question. Look at the jewelry. Exact same pieces in every single piece of promotional material. What's wild though is how the smartphone screen is just completely white. No UI, nothing on it at all. This shot was captured in perfect sync with the camera flash, and honestly, it looks like a real car photograph. Like, that is genuinely impressive. On the back wall too, there's a gun with PTT written right on it, which is a nice touch. And drawn next to it is a bullet with your name on it. Not literally your name, obviously. More like a standing threat to anyone PTT considers an enemy. Following on from that, check out those rims on the Albany, a car based on the real-life 1967 Cadillac Eldorado. And they look incredible. That level of customization only comes from Rideout Customs, which lets you, quote, transform vanilla vehicles into magnificent works of art. Exquisite rims on full display here, full donk styling. And of course, Rockstar blessed us with an interior shot showing off a genuinely funky custom steering wheel. The handbrake lever looks custom too. They went all the way in on this build. That wrap color almost mirrors Lucia's dress exactly, which cannot be a coincidence. Check the leather seats though. Still slightly damaged, still wrinkled. This is a restoration, not a full rebuild, and Rockstar left those imperfections in on purpose. That actually sets up the final shot perfectly, a straight before and after comparison. The bumper's hanging off and the whole thing looks beaten to hell. That's the before. The after is night and day. Genuinely hard to believe it's the same car. You can also spot the vehicles up on the jacks. The one on the left is the Willard Faction. The one on the right is the Vapid Stanier. Looks like Jason finally patched those leaks, and while we're in the garage, we get a clean look at his personal car collection. First up, the Vapid Ganado, which everyone was wrongly calling the Credo back in the day. Parked to the right of that is his military spec Dinka Enduro. And you can't sleep on the trusty kayak either, which we'll actually see Jason using later. Worth noting on the right, there's a boat dock, so at that point, you can probably ditch the kayak entirely. One tiny detail, the wiring under the roof has changed. Looks like Jason actually tidied it up between screenshots. What I do like though is the little garden seating area out front. Maybe Jason and Lucia sit out there for breakfast, watching the sunrise.
That would be a nice touch. And on the far right, you can just barely make out a tall communications tower, which in my opinion is the exact same one from the Leonida Key screenshot. Here's a tight close-up of Jason's bike. The seat's visibly ripped, and the welding looks like Jason did it himself in someone's driveway. You'll see this detail again even more clearly in a bit, but at least the bike is sitting on a kickstand, so the GTA 6 community finally got what they asked for. Oh, and this thing is based on the Honda XL250. Moving on, we've got Jason in his board shorts paddling a kayak way out to sea, and that in-game brand on the hull, Crest Kayaks, is a brand new one for GTA 6. Look closely and you can see a seagull that's clearly been spooked by Jason pulling up. And there's what looks like a bit of seaweed drifting in on the right side. But what actually gets me here is this is our first real look at Quilento, confirmed right there on the left by a sign reading Quilento Marina. So this here is Sarah's unisex salon. Not entirely sure why the S is sitting so far off from the rest of the word, but there's got to be a deliberate reason for it. Although just below that, it lists her services cuts, styling, and blowjobs. On top of the general styling options, there's an air conditioning unit on the left side of the wall. And I genuinely do not know why that immediately made me think of pumped up kicks. The second screenshot takes us inside and we get Jason rocking his earring and mullet. Look at how the light actually catches individual strands of his hair. NPC variation is solid too. And the woman on the right, who I'm guessing is Sarah, is wearing a leopard print top. The floor decoration is what really sells it for me though. It does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of making the world feel real. It just has that energy of a small, locally run salon that has been there for 20 years and is not going anywhere. But here's the big one. For the first time in a GTA game, you can actually get your nails done. I'm going purple with pink polka dots. That is my final answer. And based on what we can see on the left side, the customization options here are going to be deep. Beyond that though, this screenshot does not give us a whole lot else to work with. Here we've got the Shih Tzu Squalo. Obviously this boat showed up in past GTA games, but what you might not know is it's based on the real-world Sea Ray 210. I won't go too deep on this one. I actually managed to pin down where on the map this screenshot is taken, because on the right, you can just barely make out the sign for the Sahara Arena, which you can also spot on the left in trailer 1, with Lucia cruising past in that red car. On top of that, you can see what looks like a starboard marker, probably there to keep you from running aground, but pay close attention to that pile of towels on the front of the boat. Just before that, we get a quick side profile of the Squalo, and the sun is hitting the water at exactly the right angle to produce this little rainbow effect. After seeing that, it's genuinely hard to understand why people were losing their minds over the reflections and lighting in the previous website video. And on the right side, there's a cooler box, which could mean we actually get to store fish we've caught out at sea. And is that the Tommy Vercetti mansion on the right-hand side? I think it's safe to say everyone's eyes went straight to the dolphins. I mean, just look at that head and the little blowhole. Maybe we can feed them, pet them, trap them in an enclosure, and build our own SeaWorld. If that's not already in the game, Rockstar, get on it. On top of that, Jason's got a few bottles of E. Cola on him. But overall, this has me so hyped for underwater exploration, man. Even the diving gear is realistic, with a proper BCD, buoyancy control device, and the regulator with exactly the right number of hoses. It's even got a secondary mouthpiece attached, just in case things go sideways down there. Picture this, you're mid-dive, your mate runs out of air, and you actually have to pass him that spare mouthpiece before surfacing together. Okay, maybe that's a stretch, but I'm hyped, all right? Next up, Jason and Lucia are being hunted by the Vercetti police. The helicopter rotor wash is clearly churning the water below, and somehow those towels are hanging on for dear life. That's genuinely impressive. Now, this is pure speculation based on what we can actually see here. My read is that the diving equipment stays fixed on the boat, so you'd get a clean, consistent animation every time you walk up and interact with it. Now we've got the stock 305 clothing store, which is basically just Rockstar showing off what they can do with customization. I bet you can even dial in Lucia's eyeshadow color. What you probably didn't clock is that this store sits in Stockyard, which we actually got a glimpse of back in trailer 1. Jason in here looks exactly like Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice. And next to him, there's a nice display rack lined with spray cans in every color you can think of. There are almost certainly empty props though, purely aesthetic, because you really shouldn't be storing aerosol cans on their side like that. A neat little detail, the store is called Stock 305, and in real life, 305 is the area code for Miami and Florida. It's also the exact same code you can spot on the woman in the GTA 6 cover art. Honestly, there's not much else going on in this screenshot, except for that ridiculous mascot sitting in the window. I genuinely have no idea what it's supposed to be. Back inside the store now, and there are a few things worth pointing out. On the right side, it reads, "Say sorry, be Vice," which is GTA 6's spin on Rockstar's real-world slogan, "Say sorry, be nice." Pretty ironic given everything going on behind the scenes right now. Next up, there's a little Illuminati sticker, and in the bottom left, that appears to be Tails from Sonic. Except based on what's going on with his tail, he's been rebranded as a drugged-up skunk classic Rockstar. Moving on, this next shot gives us the 1967 Vapid Dominator buggy. It's based on the off-road Ford Mustang, and Rockstar actually wrote a website description for it worth reading out.
A Mud Club monster offering impressive off-road handling for the backwoods of Mount Caligar and beyond. Rockstar are teasing again that there's something waiting beyond Mount Caligar. A second state, fingers crossed. You can also store it at the Paradise Garage in Watson Bay, which comes with a weapon locker and a secure spot to drop off stolen goods for fencing. Realistically, this screenshot was taken on the ground floor of a city garage, and it is a genuinely great shot. But the mod looks shockingly realistic. On top of that, it does look like Wyman is behind the wheel, and that lines up with the decal on the side of the vehicle. We will get into Wyman properly in a bit, but before we move on, I'm pretty sure I can spot a crocodile sitting in the grass on the right side. My personal favorite detail in this shot though is the actual working windscreen wipers. Just picture driving in first person and physically having to wipe mud off your windshield. And there is even more to unpack in the close-up. Visible rust around the edges, sand sticking to the headlights, this thing has lived a hard life. And just like I mentioned earlier, you can actually see the welding lines right here. I'm all for the detail, but honestly, stuff like this doesn't need to be in the game for me. And here's another shot of the interior. I think you get the idea by now. But that fuel gauge is genuinely interesting because we still don't know if refueling is actually going to be a mechanic in GTA 6. So that's the Watson Bay garage. Pretty straightforward overall, not a whole lot going on here. That spare tire in the back though, that one's got me curious. Can you actually swap out a punctured tire in GTA 6? Personally, I think it would make perfect sense, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. Wow. Just wow. This might genuinely be one of the best screenshots in the entire set of 63. We've got insane particle physics, thick smoke pouring off the rear wheels, and what gets me is how the painted white line on the road actually interacts with the surface beneath it. It's not clean, not perfect. There are small gaps, rough edges, the whole thing. It's just hyper-realistic in a way that's hard to describe. And as usual with any shot near the water, there's a boat sitting out in the distance, plus what looks like it could be a naval air station on the left. Still, this is a great shot of Jason and Lucia together, and I don't think Jason's ever ditching that wife beater. But he did swap his watch to a Crocs. Rockstar's GTA take on a Rolex classic. What you might have missed though are the tattoos. Lucia's reads Afortunada, which means fortunate or lucky in Spanish, and it's got a lucky horseshoe to go with it. Jason's reads Death Not Today. And I don't know if it's just me, but those two tattoos look like they're designed to fit together. Flipping to this back shot of Jason, you can make out what I'd call a NOLA tattoo. Same style as the one from GTA 5. The text reads NOLA, which is the acronym for New Orleans, Louisiana. That's genuinely interesting. Take it with a pinch of salt, obviously, but still worth noting. This close-up of Lucia is gorgeous, but without a clear landmark in frame, it's basically impossible to pin down a map location. Not much else to flag here. Jason's is up on the balcony, easy to spot, sitting right above where those last two shots were taken. You can tell by those same benches visible in the top right corner. If you know exactly where this is in the map, drop it in the comments. Though knowing the mapping community, they'll have it pinned before the week's out. Rockstar, you win. Alright, you actually win, man. So freaking good, brother. You can even see the freaking underwear in her. Hey, the Gooners are eating good today. Anyway, this screenshot has a few genuinely lovely details buried in it. On the grip of Jason's Beretta, it says sua sponte, which is Latin for of one's own will, or of its own accord. That is actually the motto of the US Army Rangers, so it ties straight back into his military backstory. Lucia's weapon looks like a Glock, a lighter polymer pistol, which honestly makes perfect sense for her. But the most fascinating detail by far is President Hardin on the $100 bill, who also showed up on one of the cigarette cards in RDR2. And funnily enough, President Waxman shows up on a different dollar bill in the screenshots too. So don't be shocked when you start spotting other presidents scattered across the currency. This screenshot gives us Wyman, who actually appeared back in the 2022 leaks. And the first weird thing you notice is that the number on his vest is only one digit off from the cash register we saw in trailer 2. But zoom into the bottom left and it looks like Wyman is sorting out a cam belt, or timing belt if you prefer. And if you've ever actually done one of these yourself, you'll know exactly what's coming. It is an absolute pain in the ass. You would have clocked all those numbers and the arrows on the belt, because it has to go on in exactly the right direction. No exceptions. Like, why is this in GTA 6, man? What is going on? Just incredible. And that looks like the modified Grotti Stinger GT sitting in the back there too. But more importantly, we now have confirmation that tow trucks are in the game. Moving on, and trust me, we are nearly there. But first, more cars. It is Grand Theft Auto after all. Rockstar has clearly fixed the ray tracing since GTA 5. Look at how cleanly the light bounces off those door panels. If I had to bet, I'd say this one is based on the 1970 Toyota Celica. I'm going to blitz through the rest of these fast because they're all part of the classic car collection. First up, the Atomic brand is back. It's modeled after real-world Michelin tires. In this shot, the Donald Duck sticker reads Duck Souped, and there's a spare tire barely visible tucked in the back. This is just a tighter close-up of the Stinger GT we looked at earlier. America, America. This one is almost certainly the shyster deviant. Now let's wrap this up with the Vintage City Pack. And this is what you're getting if you can't afford the Ultimate Edition.
Starting off where you'd expect, right outside the Ocean View Hotel. We've already seen this spot from a few different angles, so you know the drill. But to really hammer home Vice City's roots, these outfits pull hard from Miami Vice and Scarface again, and honestly, they nail it.
And obviously you've got the Vapid Stay and you're sitting right there.
And don't sleep on that bird cruising through the top right corner. On the map, I'm pretty confident this is Fisher Island, sitting right across from the port. Between the volumetric clouds, the sunset hitting just right, and sand that actually looks like sand. This shot is just flat out stunning. This one's kind of hilarious though. Lucia's arm looks like it's one bad frame away from snapping clean in half. That said, her dress doesn't look like it was some massive design challenge. Personally, it reads almost identical to her gold dress, but they've just recolored it red and tweaked the design slightly. I'm pretty sure they're dancing inside Club Space too, which is a real nightclub in Miami. If you haven't heard of Club Space, it's a massive Miami venue. We just don't know what Rockstar is calling it in GTA 6 yet. And you can actually get a cleaner look at the club from this shot in Trailer 1. One more thing I have to call out. The velvet texture on Jason's rolled up sleeve, it looks absurdly realistic, like genuinely impressive fabric rendering. Here we get a tight close-up on Lucia, and you can see her eyes are slightly bloodshot. You can even make out different shades of brown in her iris. And just like real eyes, they're varied between each one, non-identical. Jason's holding a Mac 10 here. That's the Tommy Vercetti skin you unlock from the pre-order. But I'm wondering if you can actually change the fire rate on this weapon. And honestly, I'd expect that to carry over to a lot of other guns too, based on that toggle you can see on the side. One thing we haven't even touched on yet, the nails. The fingernails. They look genuinely natural, not painted on like most game hands. You can see both light and dark variations in the nail bed, and they might even have real-time reflections on them. Alright, wrapping up the last few details now. You've probably spotted Lucia's fresh nails by this point, but here is something you might have missed. She is dipping her curls right into her drink. The way she holds the glass and that toothpick is so casual, it almost reads as a real candid photo. And this is something Rockstar has actually been actively working on. They even filed patents on it. Not a ton jumps out at me here otherwise. But in this screenshot, we have to talk about the clear rimmed glasses. They literally distort the eyebrows behind them. And here's one you probably missed. Jason's pupils are noticeably more dilated than Lucia's. Most likely just a lighting thing, more light hitting his eyes. And this kind of detail was already in Red Dead Redemption 2, so seeing it return here is no surprise at all. Now this is pure classic Vice City energy. Cruising down Ocean Drive with fluorescent neon washing over everything. And the cash in the bag? Just sitting there. What I'm genuinely curious about though is whether this pose actually plays out in game. Will Jason naturally drape his arm around Lucia mid-drive? Or is this strictly a cutscene thing? Here we get another close-up of Lucia and Jason together. And Jason is still packing that trusty M92 Beretta. Not a ton more to say here that hasn't already been covered. Just more shots of the car and its interior, but they're clean enough to linger on. Still, is Rockstar teasing that you can actually stash weapons in your vehicle? Because that would be huge. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one.